Hello, dear ones. Today we're gonna do mushroom soup, a different mushroom soup, a Ukrainian mushroom soup out of this world. It's not a cream of mushroom, it's very different. Stick around, it will blow your mind how delicious it is. And very simple. So I grew up in Ukraine and we have a lot of wild mushrooms. And the secret is there are a ton of them here in the US where I live. So you can pick them if you know. This soup is extremely fragrant. I'm gonna start with these are frozen shiitake. I go pick shiitake mushrooms. You can find them in the supermarket. It could be any mushrooms you can find. I like wild because they have a lot of flavor in them. I boil them, then I put them through the grinder and I put them in little Ziploc bags and freeze. This is gonna start me off. The other pieces that I'm gonna put in the soup is some onion, some carrot, some celery, and some potato. And I'm also using some homemade noodles, and I have dry mushrooms, dry porcini mushrooms. They are heaven. They are heaven. You find them, use them sparingly, treat them like gold. They're the most wonderful mushrooms in this world, and mushrooms have excellent propensities to remove radionuclides out of your bodies. They tag onto them like magnets. My husband is interfering.
Best soccer sneakers you could ever buy.
And so what mushrooms do, and you know, Chinese medicine is all built on mushrooms, and you have no idea. They can restore your nervous system. They can restore your brain system. They can repair a lot. You just have to. It's the whole science about the mushrooms. They are kind of like aliens out of this world, and the wild ones that soak in from the nature, from the habitat where they live, they are the best, like everything else. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fry everything up, make a roux out of it, and then we'll build up the soup. But I'm gonna toss my onion. It's half an onion. I mean, eyeball how much soup you wanna make, how thick you wanna make. You will put as many ingredients as you like. And if you come from Ukraine, Western Ukraine in particular, you will know what mushroom soup is. And I'm also take these, they're still frozen. That's not a big deal. And I'm gonna let them cook through. Just get all happy married together. Use any mushrooms you have access to. This is how it all looks. You know, I'm not frying it. I'm just sauteing it. Okay, Scott, stop it. Now, let's add a little bit of the flour. So to make a little bit thicker, to make a roux. So just watch me. I mean, I'm not a precision cook. I would say 2 tablespoons. And I want this flour to cook, just to cook down so it doesn't taste so floury. Now let me season it up.
Rose, she likes cheese.
So to taste, salt, pepper. It really doesn't need any fancy flavorings because of the mushrooms. And what I'm also going to do, let's just put a little more olive oil so it coats the flour a little better. And then I diced some potatoes. I will toss these in. And at this point, I'm gonna fill it up with water. If you want, use chicken stock, use some stock, or vegetable stock, whatever your liking is. And I don't want it to be overly thick. I'm gonna add up it just a little more. I'll season it later to taste again. The only other thing I'm gonna add, and I want to show you. So,
No,
so these are my porcinis.
Porcinis, please.
Okay, my husband is in the way constantly.
Those are porcinis.
So these are dried porcinis. This is like liquid gold. This is like gold to me. So I'm gonna take a handful and just toss it in. I have a little more in the freezer, so I'm just being really generous, but I saved this for some traditional Ukrainian dishes that we cook for our Christmas, and hopefully I'll videotape them this year so my children have memory of it. Now, let it cook. This is the soup. I can add a little bit more water later or not. Now, what I also want to show you, much to go around. I have some noodles. If you watched how my daughter made some lasagna noodles, I kept them in the freezer. This is how you make your own pasta. I just pull them out, let them sit for a minute, roll it into a little sausage, cut them. You don't have to be perfect at all. Flip it up, or use any kind of egg noodle or any noodle that you want. And we'll toss these later, literally 2-3 minutes before the soup is done. For now, let them just sit and dry. This is how I remember my grandma would make noodles. This is how my mom made noodles. This is how chicken soup was made. It's gonna be delicious. Stick around. Okay, so my soup was cooking for probably 20 minutes. I added more salt. I added a little bit more water. Basically, you want to cook potatoes. It has a bit of the sweetness, so balance it with salt. There are 2 versions of this soup. One with the noodles, and the other one is with barley. Barley will go together with potatoes, and you'll have to cook it to doneness. Now, this pasta takes 0 time to cook, literally only a few minutes. And I'm not putting a lot. You can seriously use any pasta you like. Then I'm gonna finish it with parsley, and I'll show you how it's served, and Motya is gonna try it. So we'll give the noodles 2-3 minutes to cook, and I might just add a little more water so it's not so thick. This is a Irani soup. This is not a thick soup. And then make sure you taste when you cook. Porcinis are unexplainable mushrooms. Unexplainable, right, Mats?
Mm-hmm.
The way they taste, it's magic. Now, this here. Okay, so the soup is finished. I put some parsley on top. You can use cilantro. It's thicker than we typically make it, but it is delicious. So this is how it is served. Motya will taste it. I can even water down just a tiny bit. He doesn't want to eat too much, so I'm going to give him 2 ladles. We Ukrainians love sour cream. Maybe you've heard about borscht. It cools it, gives it extra flavor. Sour cream. Motya's gonna taste. So I put a little of the Viennese in mine, and Motya's trying his with with some sauerkraut. Big chunks of mushrooms, porcini. It's hot.
Good.
It is heaven. Guys, try it.